Ladies and gentlemen, race fans wherever you are around the world, good morning, good evening, a good day to you, and welcome to the grand finale of Season 3 of the Alliance Sim Racing V8 Supercars Championship, proudly brought to you as always by Tint Solutions and AA West Automotive. There is absolutely no better stage for this final showdown than the legendary Phillip Island circuit. It's a track that's challenged and thrilled drivers in Australia for generations, and the fast-flowing layout rewards bravery and punishes mistakes, making it the perfect arena for us to crown our season champion here tonight. After 9 rounds of intense racing, it all comes down to this. The title fight is on a knife's edge with the best of the best ready to leave it all on the track after 2 races here this evening. Every corner, every braking zone, every move could be the difference between glory and heartbreak tonight. From the commitment required to take the high-speed turn 1 through all the technical twists of Honda corner, Miller corner, depending on your preference, I suppose, and of course the blind plunge over Lukey Heights. Phillip Island, as always, will push our drivers and their Gen 3 supercars to the absolute limit. My name is Jared Cole, and on behalf of everyone here at Simple Racing Broadcast, we'd like to welcome you back to the final round, and it is all set to happen right here this evening. We are ready to get underway. I am joined in the booth, as always, by my good friend Josh Harris. Josh, welcome back to the broadcast. How excited are you off the back of your Bathurst 400 drive, mate?
Good evening, Jared. Thank you very much for welcoming me here into the booth. I'm incredibly excited to be at Phillip Island. We can talk more about my exploits last night a little bit later, but for now, let's focus on these guys and girls. One of Australia's premier racing tracks. Plenty of international fanfare has been seen at this wonderful layout, and of course tonight we get to see our very own homegrown V8 Supercars there. Very interesting track, Jared. Probably one of the fastest in Australia. Off the top of my head, second only to Bathurst itself. But what makes this course so unique is the incredulous amount of time that you spend turning the vehicle. It's not something really that you would think about, but V8 Supercars particularly do well if we imagine the style of track that they're normally on. They are on things like street circuits. They really deal well, or deal best, with stopping, rotating, and then powering off the corner. They really genuinely struggle around long corners where the tyres in particular are loaded for a very long time. And if you look at this layout, Jared, just about every single corner is a very long corner. Turns 2 in particular, and then even through turn 3 on the way into Honda hairpin. And then through the hay shed before you really get up into Lukey Heights, and then of course probably the hardest of the lot, the very last corner as we come out onto the straight. Jared, right as you pick up the ripple strip on the outside, you're doing somewhere in the vicinity of 230 k's an hour, while still trying to navigate a turn and not bowl a white and end up out in the grass. It's an incredibly difficult circuit to get a supercar around, and what a place to make these guys and girls fight out their championship.
Absolutely spot on. I couldn't have summed it up any better myself, so I won't even try. Phillip Island tonight, of course, a fantastic bit of practice for these drivers as we take a look ahead to this weekend's Endurance Championship. Round 1 will be here, weather depending, of course, with that tropical cyclone bearing down on us here in Queensland. But at this stage, on Sunday, the drivers will be back along with any other entrants for the Phillip Island 600. So tonight, just a very small taste. 2 races this evening. Race 1 is 13 laps. Race 2, twice the distance at 26 laps, with 2 compulsory pit stops to be made in that second race. And it is set to be an absolutely thrilling finish to this season. The championship is not quite decided, but it's certainly close to that point. As we take a look at the standings before coming into this round, Matt Vanderkraan, look, it's not an impossible lead, but he's going to be very, very hard to beat. 1,974 points there, Josh, out in front of Jason Spriggs on 1,843. Dean Logsdale could snatch away P2 here in the championship tonight if he has a good couple of races as well. So Jason Spriggs is going to have to be absolutely on his game. I'm just taking a look through the entry list. I don't know if he's actually even here this evening, so that... Oh no, there he is. Sorry, I stand corrected. Jason Spriggs is racing tonight, so Dean Logsdale, look, an opportunity for him, absolutely. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. Stephen Varga, a little further back on 1,699 points, probably out of the running for the podium steps of our championship. But all eyes on Matt Vanderkraan. If he has a couple of even half-decent races tonight, he is going to finish up what has been an absolutely dominant season for him and the Angry Birds team. 1,974 points at this stage, just massive, isn't it, Josh?
It is huge. What's that, 130 points? There's 300 points available across this evening. It's very much going to take a pretty big upset from here for Matt Vanderkraan. However, we are very much aware that in these cars anything can happen. And just to make it a little bit exciting, all of the top 5 guys are within, if my numbers are correct, are within the top 7 here tonight in the practice times, but the one that I'm drawing my attention to, Matt Vanderkraan and Dean Logsdale out the front, separated by 7/100ths of a second. So if you do happen to think that the guys are going to take it easy tonight, that is absolutely not the case. Matt Vanderkraan with his usual showing and early turn of speed, but the other guys are going to be going hard. And to be fair, Jared, they've got nothing to lose, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple of desperate moves tonight, if I'm honest.
Yeah, there's particularly Dean Logsdale. We're going to have to keep an eye on him and see just what he's got up the sleeve, because he'll be gunning for that second position, I have no doubt. The driver's just getting underway for qualifying now. Let's go down to the track and check out some of the action here at Phillip Island this evening, because there will be plenty, no doubt. The qualifying session gets underway and our driver's on their outlaps now. Let's go and take a look, and we start with Michael Schroeder for Accelerate Sim Racing, who is on his way and his outlap. We will keep an eye, as always, on these times as they come through. The question really for me is, does the speed in practice translate for Vanderkraan, for Dean Logsdale, for Jason Spriggs? Are they able to follow that up and actually deliver some quick times in qualifying? Because 2 laps around Phillip Island, you get a lot of heat into the tyres very quickly around this place. As you said, a lot of turns, so it really does shred tyres. But for a qualifying run, it means you get a lot of temperature into them quickly, and you've actually got to be almost a little careful not to overheat them on your outlap, right?
Yeah, I would say that with the tyre model that we've got here, Jared, absolutely your first lap is your one and done. But that's not to say that there's not enough life to get through a second lap. So the guys will actually be taking it easier on this outlap than they may on a lot of other circuits. We've been to a lot of circuits this year that are pretty short and sharp. This is not one of them. This is a beautiful, long, flowing circuit, and they will be doing their best to bring their tyres up to the optimal temperature. The one thing that I'll call out, Jared, there is a lot of right-hand turns to end this circuit. They are going to be cold left-hand tyres when they get down to turn 1, and they try and load them up. So potential there to bowl a wide and end up out in the grass, but as we see here, the guys are just starting to get into their work. And to answer your original question, Jared, Matt Vanderkraan, Dean Logsdale, Vargs, they've all been, quite good this year on this 2-lap lone qualifying. I absolutely expect to see the names up the front that we're used to.
No doubt. We're keeping an eye at the moment on Phil Marsh from PJM Racing. He is out in front and the first to set a time here tonight, I'm sure, at the pace he's going. Although keeping on Dane Nothdurft, who's actually not far behind him. So expect those 2 names to pop up first on the timing tower as they complete their first lap. But of course, Matt Vanderkraan, Dean Logsdale, Jason Spriggs, the ones to really watch, and keep an eye out for Stephen Varga, because he may even have a surprise up his sleeve yet. We'll have to wait and see. Welcome back to the chat. A few regular names there. Simon Haynes, good evening to you, sir. And Tim Lawson, welcome back. And Luke Orman, as always, the support for Team AJR. And I'm sure you'll be keeping your eye on Mr. Logsdale this evening as he looks to secure, hopefully, a P2 in the championship by the time we are done this evening. Let's see what the first of these times bring. You can see Van der Kraan on his hot lap already stealing away 2 of the sectors. So those times are about to come through, and there it is, a 1:32.4. A very, very quick lap from Van der Kraan setting the pace. Trav Hunt only 300ths, so just less than 300ths of a second behind Van der Kraan. So unsurprising to see Trav Hunt getting into it. He didn't really feature in this practice session in terms of the top speeds, but certainly Damon Cairns less than half a tenth behind Van der Kraan as well. So some drivers here that have really figured these cars out over the course of the season. We didn't see them a lot in the early races, did we, Josh?
No, we didn't, but it's good to see that they've, at the end of the season, they've all got their head around them, and we're really starting to see those qualifying margins start to shrink down to some really competitive numbers. I would expect to see a faster time from a lot of these guys. I think that they've underdriven on lap 1. A 32.4 is probably a little bit slower than I expected off the first lap. So we'll see whether the guys at the front have got anything left in those tyres, and whether they're able to go again. As we say that, Jeff Thomas has just popped to the top with a 32.3. So he's, it's only 3/1000ths of a second, but he has jumped to the top. Although, as I say that, I look down, Matt Van der Kraan's put in 2 yellow sectors and may have just bailed into the pits. He has. So Matt Van der Kraan and Jamie McKnight have both gone into the pits. They have realised that they are behind on their second lap. No point continuing that on. So for the first race in a little while that I can think of, Van der Kraan won't be starting in first place or off the pole, Jared. It'll be very interesting to see whether there's anyone that's able to pick him at the post as we finish off this qualifying session.
I'm just watching Dean Logsdale right now. He's had a couple of rough laps by the look of it, if our telemetry is correct, and this might be his last shot. I don't think he's managed to record a time on his first shot at it, so everything comes down to this lap, and we'll have to wait and see just what sort of pace he's actually on at the moment, because it's going to need to be something special to give him any shot of getting in amongst the points. Jason Spriggs finds himself up in P5 after his qualifying efforts. So what can Logsdale do to put himself in position to really challenge for the championship's silver trophy here tonight? Coming through, look, a very good time compared to his first one. Let's see what he actually crosses the line in, though. Logsdale across the line. And the final time recorded, there it is, that is pole for Logsdale, 32.3. What a massive way to finish off the qualifying run. That is huge for the Team AJR driver, almost 700ths ahead of Jeff Thomas, who we thought had a very, very quick run there. Now the question is Thomas on his cool down here? Is he actually out for another lap at this? I think he might even have a lap in hand here.
It certainly looks that way to me, Jared, but I'm not sure that he's got anything left. And to be honest, whether he does, it's only changing sides on the front row at this point, from my opinion. Although Scotty Rankin is another name. He bunged it into P10 at the time on his first lap, and he is charging away again at his second flyer. Chad Vigor is also on his second flyer. So there is a couple of names still to go, but certainly I'd be willing to put some money down that Dean Logsdale is safe on the front. A couple of names still to go to challenge for that pole position, but it is starting to look locked up at the top as we do flick across to Scotty Rankin and just see him come through that very fast final corner and across the line as he is unfortunately able to improve his position. He does improve his time but stays in 11th position, so buried in the pack on the 5th row there. But we do know that Scotty Rankin is fantastic in race tune, and it'll be interesting to see where he goes. Jeff Thomas clearly down. We can see they're fast in the first sector, and a poor second sector means that he has decided to throw that lap away and just head back into the pits.
So Scott Rankin has finished up. He'll be heading back to the pits just as soon as he practices a few starts, I'd say. And why wouldn't you? It's going to be an interesting track tonight. Phillip Island, always a difficult one. I know you and I spent a lot of time turning some laps here, just trying to wrap our heads around in the Gen3 Supercar really just back when the supercars first released, I think it was, wasn't it, Josh?
Yeah, it was. So in the league that I race in, this was our very first stop. So I spent quite a bit of time here a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of months ago now, really trying to wrap my head around a Gen 3 supercar. It is a phenomenal track, Jared. It is a whole lot of fun. There is no doubt about that. But it is also a huge challenge. These cars do not like this style of circuit, and so it's a lot of work for these drivers to get them around the track.
Yeah, it's definitely got a well-deserved reputation for absolutely chewing tyres here at Phillip Island. Those long, fast corners just shred them. No two ways about it. And I guess the only thing I can say in support of Phillip Island in that respect is at least it's got what is about an equal number of lefts and rights, so at least you're chewing through them reasonably equally across the course of a lap. But yeah, you'll go through quite a few sets here, particularly if you are entering into the PI 600. Mate, that's a long way to go around Phillip Island, isn't it?
It is. It's going to be a very different mindset for tonight. So you talked at the top of the broadcast, Jared, about a bit of a warm up for these guys tonight. I think that they will absolutely be clearing the head tonight. This is in no way a warm up for the 600. However, what a fantastic event to have on the weekend, and 600Ks around here, probably one of the prettiest tracks in the country, a genuine driver's track, a real challenge, and nowhere better to get started in my opinion.
As we take a look at the grid, it has been decided Dean Logsdale, a phenomenal qualifying effort, sees him with pole for race 1 alongside Jeff Thomas. Matt Vanderkraan, the current championship favourite, just behind them on row 2 with Travis Hunt, who I'm sure will bring a lot of pace as he always does here tonight. Damien Cairns and Jason Spriggs behind them on row 3, then Jamie McKnight and Andrew Hoffman on row 4, ahead of Stephen Varga and Damon Fisher from Team AJR, rounding out the top 10. Scott Rankin and Dane Nothturf just outside it, but keep an eye on them this evening as well. We go further back, Jim Caperonis and Steve Tonkin ahead of Chad Vigor and Michael Schroeder, then Peter Latham and Peter Sattler alongside each other, Todd Martin and Rob Baxter further back, rounding out your 20. Then Michael Power and Troy Sipple ahead of Philip Marsh and Craig Rose in 24th. The final row tonight, Lucas Burt and Darren Walden, and your safety car driver for this evening, Nathan Ellen, returns for those duties, and we are hoping, as much as we'd love to give him a bit of a run in that Mustang, we're really hoping to not see him out there tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't need that. We want a clean, fast championship fight that goes down to the wire. I think as far as tracks go that we've been at this year, Jared, that's pretty likely to see a safety car. This one probably reasonably low. However, turn 1 is a prime opportunity to blow an engine. So we very well may see a safety car to go and retrieve a stranded car. But other than that, I think that one of the joys of this track is that if you do make a mistake, plenty of room off the track to recover and get back onto the track.
Yeah, lots of space. It's one of the redeeming features of Phillip Island for all of the challenge. It really doesn't matter too much if you run it wide because you're not going to hit a wall like you will at so many of the tracks we've been on this season. It's almost comforting to know that the only thing you've really got to worry about is overshooting turn 1 and actually dropping off that nasty fall onto that back straight. And I think anyone who's driven Phillip Island probably knows what I'm talking about. Hopefully the drivers manage to pull it up before it gets to that point this evening. We'll have to wait and see. So we wait on the last of these drivers to get gridded up. We're waiting on Dean Logsdale now as he joins the grid. And we have just a couple more to come and join us as well. There's Jeff Thomas lining up on row 2. We are just about ready to get underway. This is the final round of the Alliance Sim Racing V8 Supercars Season 3. And as always, your sponsors Quantum Tint Solutions and AA West Automotive have put on a phenomenal season here. We're really looking forward to seeing the outcome and then, of course, talking later on about Season 4, which is just around the corner, but more to come on that as the evening goes underway. Right now, we are going to starters' orders. All the cars gridded. We are ready to get underway here. 13 laps ahead of us. Let's go down to the line. The lights come up. The revs rise. These guys ready to get racing. Don't want to waste any time waiting around here. 3, 2, 1, and we are green away. A massive start there from Jeff Thomas. Dean Logsdale a little slow off the line. He's going to find himself swamped on the way down to turn 1 as Vanderkraan and Travis Hunt get moving behind him. The front four tightly packed together on their way into turn 1 here, doing corner at Phillip Island. Dean Logsdale under pressure already from Travis Hunt and Matt Vanderkraan, who goes side by side through Southern Loop as they make their way around the long sweeping downhill left-hander. Always a challenge. We're lucky to see everybody get through that one cleanly here tonight, and Logsdale finds himself in a bit of space now between Thomas and Hunt as they make their way down to Miller Corner, the Honda hairpin, for the first time here tonight. So far so good. You can see that looks like Jamie McKnight making the move there on Andrew Hoffman, gets it done up the inside, and for the first time they head towards Siberia, that famous corner at Phillip Island. It's one that catches people out quite regularly tonight. No such luck. Scott Rankin finds himself a little bit wide and loses the position to Damon Fisher, but he'll be looking to fight that one back, and indeed fight back he does as they make their way up towards Lukey Heights for the first time. Let's check out Jeff Thomas out in front right now, comes down over the hill, and let's see what he does for the first time through this sharp right-hander. It's one of my least favourite corners on any track. It is a nasty one, but he's negotiated that beautifully, and that is lap number 1 effectively done and dusted. A very, very clean start here tonight, Josh Harris. I don't know about you, but I am impressed already with the standard of racing that we're going to see for the rest of this evening.
Yeah, it's a fantastic first lap, and half a second gap as Jeff Thomas crosses the line. He has had a phenomenal standing start lap. He has absolutely gotten out of there, but Dean Logsdale absolutely in this championship fight. He will be hunting him down as fast as he possibly can as these guys do settle into their work, and you can just see from these shots here through turn 1, such an incredibly fast track, Jared. It's phenomenal how much speed you have to carry here up through the Southern Loop. It is only listed as one corner, but it is probably the longest corner on just about any track that we go to as they come around through turn 3 and then into turn 4. The Honda hairpin, as you noted, it is probably one of the key passing opportunities, that and MG at the bottom of Lukey Heights. But a fantastic opportunity there. Although everybody is playing nice at the moment. Jim Caparonis there, getting all crossed up coming through Siberia. It's very easy to do on this track, Jared. You're always trying to get a little bit more power to the ground. You're trying to, get your skates on and get moving. And it's so very, very easy to just give these things a little bit too much power and get them sideways. And it's a track that'll punch out. As we do see a big dive there from Sattler, I think it was,
Chad Vigor.
Into the side
Chad
of
Vigor
into the side of Jim Caparonis down at the bottom of MG. Very, very easy to do there. Without going back and looking at it, it could have been a bit of an audacious braking move. It could have also been a little bit of slamming the door at MG. It's a very difficult corner, Jared, to get right and make sure that you know exactly where the people that you're racing are.
Yeah, it's a hell of a way to start, isn't it? And definitely, I mean, you saw Chad Vigor. He was close behind there as they were making their way through post-Siberian, and that little bit of a slip from Jim Caparonis. He was trying to capitalise on that, but it hasn't quite worked out. As we see car number 99, a drive-through for contact there. That's Michael Power, so something happening a bit further back in the pack there, perhaps, that we missed. It'll be interesting to see if that redress was enough for Vigor to avoid a drive-through of his own. But right now, Scott Rankin finds himself in a little bit of space as there's a few battles going on around him. We look a little further back. This is Steve Tonkin now looking to chase Damon Fisher down. These guys have been right next to each other for most of these opening few laps. And I don't think Fisher has really given Tonkin much of an opportunity to get past. It is a really difficult track to pass on in the absence of a mistake from the driver in front. There's not a huge number of opportunities that really suit these Gen 3 supercars. We often look, don't we, Josh, for those tight corners at the end of long straights where you can get a bit of a pass done under braking, and that just doesn't exist here at Phillip Island.
No, it doesn't. And the other thing that's very interesting about Phillip Island is that every one of the, very good passing opportunities has a corner that goes the other way next. So we see it here into turn one, and Matt Vanderkraan was able to slam that door closed. But if Trav Hunt could have hung tough there and stuck around, on the outside, all of a sudden he's got the inside line for the Southern Loop at 2. We see the same thing at Honda Hairpin going into Siberia, and then we see the same thing again coming out of MG Corner at the bottom of Lukey Heights into the last complex. So it's very easy to defend here. It makes it an incredibly fun racetrack when you are battling someone, because you absolutely have the opportunity to defend your position, but you also know once you get a pass made that you have absolutely earned it. It's a very, very nice feeling.
Yeah, look, not something that I'm super familiar with, making passes in a Gen 3 supercar. It's not one of my specialties, that's for sure. These guys, though, they know how to get it done. And, it's certainly... It proves the skill of these drivers when you see some of these passes getting done where they've got no right to get a pass done at some of these corners at Phillip Island. There shouldn't be a way to do it. This is Scott Rankin now really threatening Hoffman again. He's managed to drop behind him, but Rankin looking to move back through if he gets even half a chance here. But we will keep an eye on this battle. Further up, though, Matt Vanderkraan, the tables have turned, and now Travis Hunt will look to come back at him into turn one. We saw there some championship point penalty handed to Chad Vigor. That'll be for that contact that we saw with Jim Caparona. So the redress is helping him escape a drive-through, but not escaping the championship point penalty he will be receiving at the end of tonight's race.
Yeah, it's probably fair and reasonable, Jared. At the end of the day, he definitely committed the crime. He did help himself out by doing the appropriate thing and redressing, but there is still the matter of Jim Caparona's lost a number of positions. So I think that was a pretty fair and equitable way to go about it. A little bit of a redress, a lesser penalty, and everybody gets on about their night and has a good time. As we take this overhead shot, Jared, we can really start to see the field spreading. A little bit of argy-bargy here between Fisher, Tonkin and Schroeder, but other than that, lots and lots of people settling into their rhythm. And what I can tell you, Jared, we're 5 laps into 13. We are coming up on halfway in this short, sharp heat race. But I can assure you, the race that I did here at the start of the year, 17 laps. Absolutely made it its presence known. Again, we see exactly the same thing. And a huge hit there. Unfortunately,
quantum entries, Angry Birds into the back of them as well. So we've got Tonkin, Fisher, Peter Sattler involved, Troy Sipples got into that one, Todd Martin as well, and Chad Vigor all getting caught up in it.
Yeah, that was
rough.
Wild is how I would describe it, Jared, and disappointing to see so many cars involved there in what was once again a pretty innocuous incident. It's so hard over there, as we can see there. Fisher just slamming the door closed, and unfortunately ending up parked in the middle of the track. And as the guys come around that corner, just nowhere to go, and one after the other, they all end up ploughing in, unfortunately, which is it is disappointing to see, but that's what happens.
I'm going to point out, just before we go back to the live, watch what happens here. Damon Fisher loses his connection for just a second. Now, I reckon these drivers that have run into him thought they were good to go. Watch them start to accelerate, and then all of a sudden, oh, hang on, his car's still there. Gotta love iRacing when it does that to you. Poor old Damon Fisher.
iRacing doing iRacing things, eh?
Right, it happens. It happens. It couldn't happen at a worse time there. Meanwhile, further up, Hoffman and Rankin. I've just noticed that Southern Cross Racing entry. Have a look at the livery on Andrew Hoffman's car as he rubs doors with Scott Rankin. Don't rub that lovely paintwork off. That is very reminiscent of a certain motorsport team that I suspect our viewers will be rather familiar with.
And can I just draw your attention, Jared? My favourite part about that livery is that is on a Ford.
Yep.
As you know, there's nothing that I like more than a little bit of friendly rivalry, and seeing such a famous Holden livery on a Ford will be sure to be upsetting a number of people, and I am here for it.
These guys are very, very passionate about their Holden Ford rivalries, as we well know. Take a look, though. The battle's starting to heat up in the front. Jeff Thomas losing a little bit of pace, so Dean Logsdale starting to hunt him down. Matt Vanderkraan right behind, but he's got Trav Hunt right on his tail, and Damien Cairns getting into the mix now as well. It's all going on, plenty to play for as we reach pretty well the halfway point now of this first race. G'day to those joining us for the first time this evening, and glad you're here to check it out. This final round promises to be an absolute cracker. We're already off to a great start. Plenty more to come, of course, in race 2 after this one, but still 6 laps and change to go in our first sprint race tonight. And Josh Harris, look, hard to pick a winner at this point, isn't it?
It is. It's a fantastic race, and it's very reminiscent of supercar racing at Phillip Island. It's hard to pass, but it's also hard to break away, as we do see the race control message there pop up, a drive-through for car 82, Steve Tonkin, for that incident that we saw a couple of laps ago at MG. So that didn't take very long to work out at all. And I'll be honest, Jared, not particularly surprised at that outcome. And
Not
I'm
even
sure
remotely.
plenty of other guys are happy to see, someone penalised for what tended to be a bit of a messy affair. Tim Lawson in the chat noting that the debris on the track is very heavy offline. I can tell you, lots of opportunity here, Tim, to pick up a bit of grass and sand and junk on the track, but also this place is so incredibly tough on your tyres that it only takes 2 or 3 laps and you really start to see some marbles piling up off the line. A huge move around the outside there. Does not surprise me at all that Baxter's ended up wide. That was probably one of the most audacious attempts at pass that we have seen this season, Jared. I am here to see it, but I don't think that was ever really going to come off. But gee, it looks good.
That was bold, and had he pulled it off, we would be singing his praises. As it is, a bit offline there into turn 1, plenty of marbles already building up as these tyres just chew themselves through every lap. 8 laps is more than enough to lose a huge amount of surface off these race tyres. And Rob Baxter just getting caught up in it, unfortunately. Couldn't get it done, but keep an eye on him because he'll be looking to have another crack at Peter Sattler, maybe next lap if he can just get back within striking distance. Let's take a look at the front pack though, because these guys are starting to close up now even further and really compressing. Initially we were just talking about Jeff Thomas and Dean Logsdale with Matt Vanderkraan and Trav Hunt battling it out separately behind them, but they've been joined now. Damien Cairns, Jason Spriggs and Jamie McKnight threatening to join up as well. So we've gone from a couple of head-to-head battles to what is now a battle of 5, potentially the first 7 spots, all having a shot at the win as we start to reach the closing stages of this first sprint race this evening.
It's very possible, Jared, that Jeff Thomas just went a little bit too hard too early and did fry those tyres. Like I mentioned a couple of laps ago, I did 17 laps around here a few months ago, and by the time that I got to the end of that 17 laps, I was very much struggling, and by lap 10, if you drove too hard, you could definitely be feeling it. I wouldn't be suggesting at this point that Jeff Thomas is completely fallen off the cliff with those tyres, but it is possible, as we see people really start to bank up behind him, it's possible that he just went a little bit too hard too early, and now we'll start to see people really queue up and wait to take their shot. The interesting thing will be how much firepower has he saved, and how much has he identified that his tyres are starting to burn off, if that is indeed the case, and can he do anything about it? Maybe this is some incredible race management by Jeff, and we're really seeing him back out of the pace, rejuvenate those tyres and set him up for a really fast 2 or 3 laps at the end to race home.
Yeah, still a long way to go. The gap now, though, for those front 3 starting to really open up as Trav Hunt, look, he's hanging on to the back of him. Damien Cairns now, we saw these guys starting to get in touch, and all of a sudden Thomas Logsdale, Vanderkraan and Hunt, have just decided, it's actually probably time to start to up the pace a little bit here. as they look to just put a bit of distance between them and the rest of the field. So that front four still staying very close. You'll see them just to the front of the shot. There it is. So you've got that group of four really getting condensed as we look at the battle for fifth, just making their way through Honda Hairpin now. Scott Rankin, though, has made his way past Hoffman, and he's looking to catch up to the back and make this a five-way battle. They're looking to go side by side through Siberia. That is ballsy. Jamie McKnight, I don't know how he's going to go around the outside there. There is going to be so much debris, so much litter on the track there. But here, Vanderkraan and Trav Hunt, as we come up to Lukey Heights, Hunt's going to send it here. You can feel it, can't you? Big nudge into the back of Vanderkraan.
Yeah, Trav Hunt here is he's definitely in a hurry, and I can nearly assure you that Dean Logsdale is sitting in that car willing Trav Hunt on. He wants him to engage Matt Vanderkraan in as much battle as he can and really slow them down. As you can see, it's bought them, 0.8 of a second. They were nose to tail at the midpoint of this lap, and now you've really got the two different pairings separated. So lap 11 of 13, only a couple to go, Jared, and this is really starting to heat up into an exciting finish.
Absolutely. These front four, though, continue to pull what looks like a second at a time out of the front runners, the second pack there. It's just opening up, isn't it? Almost 3.5 seconds now. Back to Spriggs, who's made it past Cairns. I just don't understand how these guys have this much pace, honestly.
To be fair, Jared, it's more about the time that you lose fighting with someone else. So it's very easy to lose a huge amount of time when you start to fight. You compromise your exit, you compromise your entry and the car behind you's entry, and it just compounds and compounds and compounds. So as you can see, Trav Hunt and Matt Vanderkraan have stopped arguing over position, and they have immediately raced back up onto the back of Jeff Thomas and Logsdale. So because it's so hard to pass here, it is so easy to build the pressure, and it's so easy to make these into these real big battles.
Just a little further down the track, Dane Nothturf right on the back of Michael Schroeder. He's got to be thinking about a move here as well. Lukey Heights, it's a very, very difficult corner to put a move on, just because you've got to be so careful with the brakes. That downhill is a lot steeper than it looks in your pictures here, and very, very easy to lock up as the weight transfers over the crest. We go up front though. Jeff Thomas now under pressure. Dean Logsdale looking for a move up the inside. He had the pace down the straight, has backed it out a little earlier than Thomas did as they came into turn one there and on their way to the southern loop. But Logsdale looks to have a fair bit of pace up the sleeve at the moment. Don't discount Vanderkraan or Hunt. The thing that I'm really interested to see right now, though, Jason Spriggs sitting in fifth, Dean Logsdale currently in second. If we finish up this way, it's going to be very interesting to see how the points look going into the final race of this season. In just a couple of laps' time, we'll be ready to talk about that.
Yeah, it's an exciting prospect, Jared, and of course everyone here is fighting their own battle. So all of these guys want the next position. Dean Logsdale doesn't really care what Jeff Thomas has got going on in this championship battle. He wants first place. He wants as many points as he can, and he would be selfishly willing for bad things to happen to both Vanderkraan and Spriggs. As we jump on board with Trav Hunt, plunge over the top of Lukey Heights there through MG, and a really interesting couple of corners here, Jared. You can see this second last corner is very difficult. You're really balancing between second and third, and then you're going to pull fourth gear just here as we go around this long, fast left-hander. You can see there 220 kilometres an hour as you're climbing up onto the ripple strip, tucked in behind the car in front. Very difficult to spot your braking zone and your turn-in point for turn one. Down a single gear and then through this incredibly fast corner as you really set yourself up for a very, very long turn two here at the southern loop. Tim Lawson in the chat making note that the tyre physics really bring these tyres back to life after a little while, and I couldn't agree more, Tim. It's very interesting to see, you really fall off a cliff when you first start racing, but then all of a sudden the tyres just feel like they've got a second life to them, and your lap speed doesn't really recover all that much from what I've found, but you certainly feel like the car's back under you again. So you sort of go from having these really nice grippy tyres to all of a sudden sliding around, and then all of a sudden you're not going any faster, but you feel good in the car, and that's exactly where these guys have been now. We are on the last lap and we're in the second half. Jeff Thomas out the front from Dean Logsdale, Matt Vanderkran and Trav Hunt all within a second of each other. It is fantastic to see, and these guys have been line astern lap after lap after lap on the back half of this race. We're into the last couple of corners now, up over Lukey Heights for the last time, down through MG corner, nowhere to pass there. We've got our final two left-handers now, very difficult corners to master, but also very difficult corners to pass. Both of these guys, or all of these guys, Jared, are really going to be hoping to get a better run and get a bit of drafting done on the way into the finish line. Jeff Thomas now, he is home. He's looking down this straight. He has this wrapped up. All four of these guys have to be content to cover or to pass over the finish line in the order they were. So Jeff Thomas gets the win from Dean Logsdale, Matt Vanderkran, Trav Hunt, Spriggs heading towards the line now. As we flick back to Dane Nofdurf now in 12th position, another group of cars. There has been battles the way through here, Jared, from start to finish. We have talked about it all season. We love to see it, although we do now wait for Chad Vigor to come to the line. A little bit more separation now in the back half of the pack.
Yeah, a huge effort from all of this front half of the field. A lot more separation further back, which really just talks to how difficult it is to drive close together here at Phillip Island. It really takes some serious commitment and a bit of trust in the other drivers that you're actually going to stay with your braking marks. I'll be honest, it's not a track that I am super comfortable with getting that close behind some of the other drivers, because so much can go wrong, and when it does, being such a high-speed track, you can lose so much time if you do run off. We see Jeff Thomas making his way around, his teammate Travis Hunt right behind him. I'm excited to see the results as our race controllers are just finishing that up now. We will no doubt be able to have a chat to our race winner in just a moment as he makes his way back to the pits. But a phenomenal way to start this final round. I expected no less here tonight. But let's take a look at the results from Heat 1 and see just how this might stack up. So, Jeff Thomas tonight takes out the top spot there. 100 points on offer for race number 1. And, I'm not quite sure what's happened there. Let's get our points back up and see what's going on. Dean Logsdale in second, 95 points, is going to treat him very, very well as we take a look. Jason Spriggs back in 5th with 83 points. We'll take a look at the championship standings in just a moment. But Matt Vanderkran, at this point, surely unbeatable in this championship. Third place finish is going to be very, very healthy for his points, I'm sure. Trav Hunt right there in 4th. Just amazing battles going on right through that top 10, really. And you can see the separation from 1st to 10th, less than 10 seconds. With the way that these guys have been battling it out, I am surprised it was such a close race in the end.
I've got to be honest, Jared, I'm probably not that surprised. Phillip Island is one of those tracks. And, you can certainly win a race here without being the fastest car every single lap. That was a really fantastic race all the way to the very end. How exciting to see 3 cars within a second. And as you said, 10 cars within 10. I hope for more of that in the second race. Of course, twice the distance is twice the opportunity for chaos. But it's going to be an exciting finish. I think you summed it up nicely though, Jared. Matt Vanderkran, 90 points on the table. That's pretty darn close to him being unassailable at this point in time.
You'd have to think so, really. I don't know. I don't know how else you can do it at this point. It's got to be Matt Vanderkran's championship, but we'll do some numbers shortly and have a look at that. Probably just before we get underway with the next one. Just waiting to see if we do get any of the drivers in for a chat here. They may be just focusing ahead on the next one though. Look, awesome result all round. I don't know what to expect from this second race now, honestly, Josh. As if that's the standard across 13 laps with 2 pit stops coming into it as well, it's going to be really, really tough to separate these drivers tonight.
It is going to be tough, but with the added benefit of 2 pit stops, that really throws open a little bit of strategy. We know that the undercut is huge in these cars, so on a track where it's so easy to defend and where you can really hold people up, I think that what we're going to see is people that feel the need, Jared, to dive into the pits, extract themselves out of that gaggle of cars if they find themselves in it, and put in some quick laps on fresh tyres and look to jump those cars in the pit stop cycle, which then brings us to things like being able to shorten up your first pit stop to guarantee your track position and all of those sorts of games. It's going to be a huge mental load for our drivers in this second race. It's hard enough, to be fair, Jared, in the races that I did here, it was only one stop. It was 2 pretty significant stints, but we only had one required stop, and it was hard enough to work out exactly when to take it, let alone trying to navigate 2 and working out who you're racing against, etc. As we do see now, our championship standings updated post race 1. Matt Vanderkraan out to a 140, let's call it, point lead. There is no doubt that it is still, possible that is chased down.
Possible, but bloody hard at this point, right?
Look, I said a couple of weeks ago that it's not over until the fat lady sings, but she's out doing a vocal warm ups. Well, Jared, she now has her hair and makeup done. She's fully dressed, microphones in hand, and she is just waiting for the curtain to open. I think that the battle to come up is Logsdale and Spriggs. 27 points. That is very achievable for Logsdale if Spriggs has a bad race. So I think that for Spriggs, it's absolutely about head down and consolidating that second place. He's really relying on a miracle. And if Matt Vanderkraan finishes, he's got this one wrapped up. So for Spriggs, it's all about keeping Logsdale behind, and of course for Logsdale, and it's absolutely about the fact that he has to beat Spriggs to the line. So for me, that's the battle that's going to be interesting to watch unfold over 26 laps.
It's important to note, of course, that the point score just takes into account, this being provisional results, of course, only takes into account the finishing positions. It won't account for any bonus points. There are a few on offer for things like no incidents and fastest laps and that kind of thing, which may make a little bit of a difference. So if we find ourselves all tied up at the end of this race, then yeah, it's certainly going to be very interesting to take a look at where people might stand once those bonuses come into play. Jeff Thomas and Dean Logsdale starting on the front row here for race number 2. Matt Vanderkraan and Trav Hunt right behind them. It's virtually unchanged in that top 4, with Jeff Thomas and Dean Logsdale really being the only ones that have changed places there, I'm pretty sure. But then Jason Spriggs and Damien Cairns behind them, Jamie McKnight and Stephen Varga ahead of Scott Rankin and Andrew Hoffman, Michael Schroeder and Dane Nothdurft further back in the field ahead of Jim Capronis and Peter Latham, Chad Vigar and Todd Martin alongside each other, then Rob Baxter and Peter Sattler with Philip Marsh and Lucas Burt behind them, Michael Power and Steve Tonkin line up ahead of Damon Fisher and Troy Sipple, then Craig Rose and Darren Walden rounding out the grid here for race number 2, and we are getting ready to get underway in just a couple of minutes time. There's so much to come here. 26 laps around Phillip Island. It's going to go quickly. We're still talking, probably about 45 minutes of racing ahead of us, but at this stage, Matt Vanderkraan, he's got to have this wrapped up, surely. I really hope, though, we've been known to do this to a few drivers over our time, Josh. I'm really hoping, though, that tonight perhaps we don't put commentators' curses on anyone. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
I think we've got all our commentators' curses out of the way, Jared. We've been here all season, putting the mocker on enough people. I think we're done and dusted. I think we've done with everyone in the field, and tonight's our night.
One can only hope. Let's see how this start plays out, though. We've got quite a bit of time still left for these drivers to grid up. So let us know in the chat what your call is for the result of this race, and more importantly, where you think Dean Logsdale is going to finish up. Does he have enough points here to take it from Jason Spriggs? That's the real question.
Jared, we'll give you just a moment to have a drink. We do have just on a minute until the lights out. I think it's worth noting there are a couple of names missing from the field tonight. the Bucklands amongst them. Obviously, we touched on it at the start as we lead into this weekend. There is some pretty adverse weather coming the way of Queensland, and we know that a number of our racers and fans here at ASR are in the southeast Queensland and northern New South Wales area. So if that is you, and you're watching along, whether it be live or later tonight, we really do hope that you guys are safe and comfortable over the next couple of days, and that all of this weather passes and it just turns out to be a big fizzer, because some of the things that I'm hearing at the moment would indicate that it isn't. So we do wish you all the very best. We do we do note what's going on, and we hope that you are all safe and well, and we hope that you enjoy tonight's broadcast. If you are dealing with a little bit of wind and maybe some rain, and that it takes your mind off it for a little while, as we do get ready to go green. We are going to see the lights come up at any moment now as we get ready to go. Just about everyone has gridded, I do believe. We are just waiting for that final green flag to wave at the back of the grid and tell us that we are good to go for 26 laps of Phillip Island. Remember, folks, 2 compulsory pit stops. Plenty of racing, plenty of kilometres, and plenty of strategy to play out here. The lights come up. We just wait for our red lights as we get 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 red lights as they go out, and we see the field all the way to a nice start. A little bit of smoke in the background there. One car bogged down. We see Scotty Rankin diving to the inside.
Spriggs was very slow.
Yeah, right. So Spriggs is getting buried, which is unfortunate for his championship. 2 wide through turn 1. Fantastic to see. We love to see these guys racing as they do come up towards the southern loop again. We've got one of the Angry Birds cars there making early moves. These guys know cold tyres, they have to get going. This is absolutely the opportunity to grab some time. Matt Vanderkram, that was, in that Angry Birds car. Straight away, he's into second, so he has grabbed a spot off the line, and he is going to be chasing Logsdale down for all that he can.
3 wide, that's Chad Vigor into Dane Northdurft. Chad Vigor and Dane Northdurft coming together, so they're going to drop down through the field a bit further. Vigor not having a great run tonight in terms of coming into contact with other drivers, so he finds himself down into 15th. And noting that we've just dropped our connection for a moment there, so I do hope we haven't missed too much for you on the broadcast, folks. Welcome back. If you are watching, you've noticed we've just dropped out for a moment, but we are back up and running. And the race, look, still lap 1. You haven't missed a whole lot, as we see in the background. That's Damon Fisher going very, very wide, but gathering it back up before he loses too much track position. We make our way out of Lukey Heights again. This right here is the battle for, well, let's call it the battle for 16th, as these guys do start to mix it up. Rob Baxter, one of the first into the pit, so he's looking to get our first pit stop done very, very early. A smashing first lap, 1:39.67 from Dean Logsdale, so he's staying out in front, but Vanderkram right there with him, and these two opening up a gap now to Jeff Thomas, who doesn't seem to have the pace to stay with them.
No, he doesn't. And to be fair, from what we saw in race 1, I don't think that Jeff Thomas was the fastest car on track, but gee, he put in a beautiful, clean drive. Jeff Thomas will be doing everything he can now to run a similar race, and he may be the exact person that we look at to grab an undercut and see whether he can make that ground up.
Jamie McKnight getting it done around Miller Corner through the Honda hairpin, goes past Matt Schroeder, and he is looking for some more points here tonight, starting to make his way up towards Scott Rankin, who in turn is looking to close in on Jason Spriggs. Spriggs is going to have to be very, very careful. He's down 2 positions already into lap 2. If these guys start to catch up and overtake, then potentially, assuming this is not a strategy play, this is going to end up costing him maybe just enough points that Logsdale steals that P2 spot away. Because right now, Dean Logsdale out in front is having an absolute ball running with Matt Vanderkram, as we see Damien Cairns now starting to trade some positions. Trav Hunt dropping back after a mistake through Lukey Heights. Stephen Varga and Jason Spriggs right there on his tail, looking for an opportunity to make the most of it as Hunt starts to pick up his pace again. Hopefully he hasn't fried those tyres too much. We're about to find out as we make our way down to turn 1. This is going to put huge pressure on. A 1:32.79 from Logsdale and 32.8 from Vanderkram. Those two are absolutely pushing hard at this early stage of the race. They're going to have to be careful they don't cook the tyres.
Yeah, they are, but as long as they are making that lap speed through, driving smooth and hitting all of their apexes, I think they'll be okay. These guys that we're focusing on, this battle for fourth, they are absolutely at risk of frying their tyres. They're going to be doing everything that they can to get out of corners and make those passes. As we do see now, Trav Hunt thinking about the outside, as we see Vargs drive up the inside. Trav Hunt now got a big job on to defend all the way up to Siberia, as we do see him manage to just get the nose ahead and get back into single file on the way through Siberia. But this is exactly what I'm talking about, Jared. All of these guys are going to be driving these cars incredibly hard. They will not be worried about spitting the tyres up. They are going to be doing everything they can to get to 100% throttle as early as possible. And then we do see now, I do believe that it is Vargs and Spriggs immediately battling each other. So Varga has gone from attacking Trav Hunt to being attacked by Spriggs, all in the space of about 3 corners. Such is the nature of this circuit.
Very, very tight little battle pack we've got going on here, and don't count Scott Rankin out of it just yet, because he is right there on the tail of these drivers as well. Jamie McKnight also starting to close it up. We have got battles going on right throughout the field. Here comes Rankin. He's starting to reel Jason Spriggs in. Can he get a pass done here into turn 1? Rankin, not quite enough pace at this point, but geez, he is throwing everything at it as well, looking for those last points of the season. So we make our way through the southern loop once again. Look at that, having to get on the brakes to not go into the back end of Spriggs. Rankin is on a charge. He is driving angry, and I love to see it. Mick Clifton, welcome to the chat, my friend. A lot of support there for Team Accelerate Sim Racing, and their driver Damien Cairns leading this pack at the moment with Jeff Thomas.
It's fantastic to see all of our viewers getting involved and really shouting out their team drivers. It's so good to see this community come together, and we are stoked to be here and presenting this to you. It's the best place to be, in my opinion. As much as I love racing, you really do find that you just get in your own little bubble and there's not a huge amount going on. Come Tuesday night, where I get to sit back and watch it all, Jared, I have a whole heap of fun, and I am so privileged to be here tonight watching what is turning out to be a fantastic battle for this championship, and if I can just remind us of it, a fantastic warm-up as we get ready for Sunday's Endurance Championship to start. As we do see now, Jamie McKnight in the pits, Damien Cairns in the pits. There's a number of people that have decided to dive into the pit lane early. I'm interested to see how this strategy plays out. 20 laps from here, Jared, 2 reasonably decent stints by the time we take that second pit stop. So fascinating strategy starting to play as we understand what is going to be the winning pit stop cycle.
Yeah, a lot of these drivers now looking at whether it's an undercut or overcut strategy they need to play here tonight. The track conditions absolutely perfect, of course, being Phillip Island. It's Australia. It's always perfect here, isn't it? But the battle's very, very tight. A little further back, check this out. Hoffman has Schroeder and Caperonis right on his tail as we come down towards that Honda hairpin. And he's going to end up very wide there. Big lock-up. That sends him wide, and that allows both those drivers through. Can he get back across in time? Caperonis can't quite get there in the end, which is surprising. I thought he had the run. Schroeder goes through. Hoffman sitting back in ninth now. Jim Caperonis up 3 spots thanks to some of those pit stops happening in front of him. And here we go. Peter Sattler and Steve Tonkin at the back of this pack are battling it out as well. And Sattler and Latham also in amongst it. I don't know where to look right now, Josh. There's so much going on here at Phillip Island, and we've got to try and capture it all for the viewers.
I think you've got to have your head on a swivel at the moment to see it all, but we wouldn't want it any other way. It certainly makes our job easy, Jared. No need to find cannon fodder to fill in the blanks here, because it is just looking to the battles as we see another car go diving into the pit lanes. Michael Schroeder and Steve Tonkin have both dived in this lap, as well as Varga. So we're really starting to see those pit cycles happen, and it wouldn't surprise me, Jared, just calling it out, that it would not surprise me at all to see or to find out that some of these pit stops are reactions to other drivers that they're racing making their own stops, because the undercut is so significant in these cars that if you don't take your opportunity to pit as soon as you see your competitors do it, you will get left behind.
Absolutely. It's interesting also to see just some of the times of those pit stops. At the bottom of your screen, you can see how long these drivers are or aren't spending in the pits, and most of those stops, 10 seconds or less, suggest to me that, look, I'm just trying to remember, what's a set of tyres worth? About 12 seconds on a Gen3 supercar?
8.9 to 9.2.
Okay, so we're probably taking tyres.
So yeah, these guys are all taking tyres.
But would you take any fuel as part of that? That's the real question.
Yeah, look, some of these, so that, you know, one of the guys, I can't say who it is, but there's two that are less than 9 seconds. So there's definitely a couple that have taken fuel only, and it wouldn't surprise me if these guys just splash in, 3 or 4 litres. You might as well take 9 seconds of fuel while you are getting your tyres changed, Jared, just so that your next stop is a little less stop time in the bay.
Yeah, and look, I don't know that these guys are really super limited by fuel in this race, but of course with compulsory pit stops, you can do some numbers on just how little fuel you're able to run. The qualifier for making your compulsory pit stops here is, of course, to go up on the jack. So you've got to take some fuel or some tyres when you come in for it to count as one of your compulsory pit stops. I wonder how much work these guys have done on figuring out the optimal numbers in terms of splashes of fuel to take for a 26-lap race. I mean, you could stretch a set of tyres out to 26 laps here reasonably comfortably, couldn't you?
Oh, they'd be hurting by the end. I think that there's, look, there is potential to only do one set of tyres, but I think that Jared, I think that one set of tyres is probably what you need to do.
So if you've got it figured out, you really only need a splash of fuel in one stop, a set of tyres in the other, and you've spent less than 20 seconds in the bay. You've met your compulsory pit stops, and then you just pray for no safety cars to bring any issues. Damien Cairns on that fresh set of tyres, incidentally, went in on lap 4, just set the fastest lap in this race, 1:32.56. So the fresh tyres immediately taking effect for him as he looks to make his way back up through the field. He is currently the front runner of those drivers that have made their pit stops, and the gap from Cairns now up to the front of the field, certainly not far enough that those guys should be feeling too comfortable about how far back he sits in the field in 14th currently. He is coming for them very, very quickly, and they've still got 2 stops to make. He's only got 1 to do. Safety car could change everything here, but given what we saw in the first race, I don't think we're going to actually see one for the rest of tonight.
No, look, I don't think so. It's not a safety car inducing track, although Nathan Allen has been in the chat desperately begging for it. I don't think that he's going to get the chance to cut any laps tonight. But if we do, Jared, if we just look at Damien Cairns, he did a 32.5 last lap. Our front runners in Dean Logsdale and Matt Vanderkraan were doing 33.5s. Damien has immediately dropped back to that 33 or mid-33 pace, which is the same speed as the front runners. But Damien is certainly not losing any distance to the front runners, and he's actually going to be pulling them or reining them in every single lap. So they're going to be really thinking about, how much of an effect is that undercut going to have, and are they going to lose out to it? As once again we see Vargs and Jamie McKnight having a fantastic battle. Actually, that was Damien Cairns, so that explains that does explain that mid 33 that Damien did on the last lap. He has found himself in a bit of traffic, and of course that's not what he wants when he's got a fresh set of tyres on. But he's absolutely, now that he's cleared himself, he's going to be pedal to the metal. He's got a couple of seconds in front of him before he finds another car, and he is going to be going for it.
Vanderkraan and Hunt into the pits now. Dean Logsdale, just prior to that, I hadn't looked for a moment there, but Dean Logsdale had actually opened up a gap over Vanderkraan of just over 2 seconds, so Logsdale is absolutely flying. Phillip Island seems to be his preference of track, and it's certainly paying dividends at the moment. Jason Spriggs and Scott Rankin now are going at it as they come down towards that Honda hairpin through Miller Corner, depending on your vintage of Phillip Island. Rankin up the inside. He's going to be on the outside for Siberia, though. What can he do here? Is he going to be able to do a little bit of over-under and perhaps make this stick. It's going to take a couple turns to get any pass done here at Phillip Island in the absence of an error from the driver in front. Spriggs doing a fantastic job to just keep Rankin at bay, but we know Scott Rankin, he's not going to give up that easily. He'll be right on the tail of Spriggs as they make their way up to Lukey Heights. A very, very difficult left-hander there. It's a really strange camber on it, so these guys really keeping a very close eye on their grip as they make their way up. But Rankin really just hassling and all over the back of Spriggs right now. He's going to be feeling the pressure. It's time for Spriggs to show what he can do when driving defensively. As Rankin goes in, he's obviously feeling like he's being held up at the moment, so he's on into the pits for his first stop.
Logsdale's in as well, Jared. So Dean Logsdale has pitted from the front, and it's going to be very interesting to see from here where Damien Cairns goes. As we've talked about, he has been punching in a number of quite fast laps, so has that undercut worked, and has he been able to get himself all the way to the front in this first pit cycle?
Keep an eye on it right now. So we're watching Damien Cairns. Here's the leader of the cars that have done their stop. Keep an eye on Dean Logsdale though, and let's see where he comes out. He's on his way out of the pits now. He's just left the pits, but Damien Cairns, Stephen Varga and Jay McKnight are coming at full pace, 250k an hour plus down Gardner Straight as they make their way to Doohan Corner. What is the gap as they get up to speed? Still, Dean Logsdale finds himself with a couple of seconds over Jeff Thomas, and Scott Rankin though has managed to go through. So that pit stop that he's made, he's done a very, very quick stop, 4.18 seconds in the bay for Scott Rankin. So he's taken a litre of fuel and he's gotten straight back out there, and he finds himself in the effective lead right now.
He has, but if we consider the next lot of pit stops, expect to see that reverse. So Simon Haynes making a really good shout out in the comments, Jared, that the expected strategy is tyres and fuel together in stop one, and then a simple 1 litre stop for stop 2, just to get the car up on jacks and service that need of a compulsory pit stop. Obviously Scotty Rankin has done that the other way, and he will now be relying on clear air and fast laps to hold that position when he has to take his longer second stop.
I'll tell you what, if Scott Rankin has managed to do fuel and tyres in that 4 second in the bay, I want his pit team.
No, absolutely not. That is fuel only. So he's going to have tyres next time. So that's going to reverse next time. He's going to be somewhere in the vicinity of 5 seconds slower at the next pit stop than the rest of the guys. That is, of course, unless any of them come in with a need to, fix any repairs, or if they have forgotten at any point to completely fill, that may challenge them. But essentially, Scotty Rankin now is on a mission to pull a 5 second lead over Logsdale to hold that lead. But what we're seeing now is Scott Rankin, for all of the work that he did in the first couple of laps with fresh tyres, he's now having all of that work done back to him by Logsdale, who is absolutely all over the back of him and throwing it down the inside at turn 4 into the Honda hairpin. That is the only way to get that pass done, Jared. We've seen time and time again people who try and make the pass and have to fight on the way out to Siberia. That does not work. You have to be authoritative in that pass into turn 4. You have to get it done before the apex, and you have to be able to slam the door closed on the way out so that you have the run into Siberia.
And you
A
see
fantastic
doing
move
as well.
on Logsdale, and he's going to be on fresh tyres now, and he is out of there up there.
Yeah, keep an eye on that time difference between Logsdale and Rankin. He's starting to open it up already as he looks to extend and give himself some extra space. It's certainly proving to be his track so far tonight. Let's see what he's got left in the tank for the next 15 laps or thereabouts. Damien Cairns, Stephen Varga, Matt Vanderkraan and Jay McKnight all still going at it. Vanderkraan has been moving very, very quickly up since his pit stop, but he's been caught up here for a couple of laps now behind Stephen Varga. Varga just, look, I don't think intentionally, but just slowing Vanderkraan down. We know Vanderkraan's got a huge amount of pace, but he cannot find a pass here at Phillip Island. Let's see what he's got into turn 1. He is right on Varga's tail. Look at the pace. They come down. Vanderkraan looks to send it up the inside. Varga, late on the brakes, ends up wide. That's going to cost him a lot of pace. Can Jay McKnight capitalise now? Vanderkraan's through. McKnight has an opportunity to close the gap, and he's going to be right on Varga's tail as they make their way out of the southern loop and head towards, once again, Miller Corner, Honda hairpin. I don't know, which is it for you, Josh?
It's definitely Honda hairpin. Always has been, always will be, and I appreciate the fact that it's probably not actually sponsored by Honda anymore, and they certainly don't look after us. But I'm a bit of a traditionalist at heart, Jared, and that has always and will always be Honda hairpin to me.
Take a look at Troy Sipple and Todd Martin here, the Quantum Racing entries coming through nose to tail. Real Mustang fanatics, these guys. Look, we'll have a chat at the end of the race here to Troy Sipple, I'm sure, as we talk about season 4, and I'll let you in on a little bit of conversation that we've had across the season about the Ford versus Chev battle that is Gen 3 Supercars, because he and I have had some interesting convos this season. Take a look a little bit further ahead, and you've got the two Angry Birds now side by side out of Lukey Heights. That's Vigar through on Peter Sattler. Sattler, though, looking for the drive back out of the corner. So a couple of our foundation teams here in Angry Birds Racing and Quantum Racing, of course, sponsored by West Automotive. For the Angry Birds team, you can see the branding all over that car, and of course Quantum Tint Solutions, the sponsor of Quantum Racing. Who'd have thought, as Chad Vigar goes very wide, trying desperately to keep that car on the track through that very, very fast left-hander. Here we are further up though. Damien Cairns now has Vanderkraan on his tail, so Vanderkraan's made the move past Stephen Varga, and he's looking to get past Damien Cairns and try and close the gap to Scott Rankin out in front. Right now, Jeff Thomas, though, under pressure from Scott Rankin as they look towards Honda hairpin. We'll stick with that for you, Josh. Vanderkraan does the same though, shoots it up the inside of Cairns, pulls it up, all the traction in the world, all the time in the world. He's through, and now watch him extend away from Cairns and looking ahead towards Scott Rankin. Dean Logsdale has come off. Dean Logsdale's run off through Siberia.
Wow.
This is going to cost him a lot of positions.
That's a huge one, and it's disappointing. I'll be interested to see what's happened there. Plenty of laps still for Dean, so it's time now for him to get his head down. If I was in his position, I would probably be taking the opportunity to dive into pits as we go around Siberia here, and such a classic supercar mistake. Just the back end just getting away from him, being able to rescue it without any damage is fantastic. He gets it back on track and gets going. At the end of the day, there's very little that comes of that other than a bit of lost time. If I was Dean at this point, I would be doing everything I can to find myself a bit of fresh air and putting my head down and putting in some clean laps. But for now, he is now buried all the way back in 7th. And he will be working incredibly hard to get those positions back. And if I can just draw your attention, Jared, quickly to the chat on our YouTube stream, the artist formerly known as Frank has done his very best commentator's curse just a couple of minutes ago. Said that Dean was on for one, and he has already honed up and said, oops. So there we go. It wasn't us that was going to put the commentator's curse on. It's our friends in the comment section.
Yep, I'm absolutely palming off all responsibility for that. But Logsdale, he's had pace all night and immediately straight back into it. He is looking for a way past Jamie McKnight now, so he'll be looking to extend and pull away from Spriggs there. I almost don't want to go back now, Tim Lawson, and have a look at how many points the difference between 1st and 8th, because at the moment, if it finishes the way it is, then Logsdale's not picking up that 2nd place. We'll take another look in just a moment at that point gap and see if we can work out just how much spacing these guys need for you, because that is the battle to watch here tonight. Matt Vanderkraan having an absolute belter. He's short of an accident that takes him out of this tonight. I can't see any way he's losing that 1st place. In fact, even with the size of this field, I think he'll still pick up enough points, finishing in 26th or thereabouts. As we see Logsdale come in, he's going to make his 2nd stop. He wants some clear air, so he's going to get those fresh tyres in, and he's going to go for it for these last 11 laps. He's going to be pushing very, very hard on the way out of the pits. Keep an eye on this front group, though. Varga, McKnight, Spriggs, Trav Hunt, all gathered up nicely there, and out in front Scott Rankin continues to pressure Jeff Thomas. Both of these guys, though, very, very quick, very consistent, and so far barely a wiggle out of either of those cars as they look to continue the extension. Matt Vanderkraan now 3.1 seconds behind. Keep your eye on that timing tower. Let's see if Vanderkraan is closing that gap over the next couple of laps.
I can confirm for you, Jared, Logsdale back out of the pit bay, 10.3 seconds. So he has taken another set of tyres. that may have been a force of hand, and due to going off, he's going to grab those tyres only a couple of seconds, and they're absolutely good for a second a lap at least for the first few laps. So watch for Logsdale to come absolutely flying back through the field over these next 10 laps. It's going to be a fantastic battle all the way to the very end.
As Jamie McKnight presses Stephen Varga up towards Lukey Heights, he's looking inside, already setting up for the pass. Can he get there? Not going to go deep enough under brakes. That was a very, very risky thought for McKnight, but he wants every position he can get tonight. Further back, Chad Viggar now on the back of Peter Latham. He's looking for a way through. Latham goes defensive on the inside of that corner. Viggar looks to just straighten that corner out a bit, get a bit more drive on the way out. So he tucks right in behind Latham. He'll be setting up for a turn one pass. Keep your eye on them. Vanderkraan into the pits. Varga, McKnight, Spriggs, all of them into the pits for their second stop. So let's keep an eye on Dean Logsdale, back in 18th right now. Keep your eyes glued to him in that timing tower. Let's see where he comes out as those guys make their way out of the pits.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting and such close battles. We'll see someone has gone off at turn one in a huge way, Jared. I'm not sure who it was.
That is Chad Viggar. Just overcooked it and ended up well off in the grass.
That was a huge moment as we were down on the curb cam, and all of a sudden the car just went absolutely barreling into the grass on the outside. So
three
Chad's
wide,
done
it's
a
turn one.
fantastic job.
Vanderkraan, Varga, McKnight, 3 wide on the entry. Sorry, Josh, but these guys have come out of the pits alongside each other and somehow managed to avoid everything. But Dean Logsdale has made it past all of them on the pit exit.
It's a fantastic move from Logsdale to be able to get himself out of that traffic. Just one extra lap in clean air has meant that he can get the job done, and it's going to be really interesting now as we watch towards Scotty Rankin and Cairns and Hunt at the very front to see what they can do. But my very quick math, and I do profess that I'm not actually that great at math, but Logsdale may very quickly have found himself back towards provisional lead.
Yeah, it's going to be very close. Scott Rankin now into the pits. Damien Cairns as well. In comes Trav Hunt. Let's take a look at this pass, though. Check out Dean Logsdale as we follow him in the chopper. Look at the three of them coming out of the pits together there. Look at that bunch up. So he was lucky to get through there without one of them flicking it across the right. Glad that they had the awareness. Logsdale on just top pace on the way down to turn one. Very, very fortunate timing, and it's worked out beautifully for him. Stephen Varga now just making his way around. Let's take a look. Dean Logsdale is on his way to try and catch those front runners as they make their way out of the pits. Let's see what this is going to bring. As you can see, that's Trav Hunt just on his way out there ahead of him as Dean Logsdale goes past. It's Damien Cairns and Jason Spriggs.
Huge battle in turn one.
Logsdale 32.39 on that lap.
Dean Logsdale absolutely has his skates on, and sorry to cut you off there, Jared, but that was a huge dive into turn one. As we'll see, Trav Hunt bowler wide. He has found the marbles on the outside of Southern Loop, and I assure you that as soon as you are there, you are on your skates and into the marbles. So Trav Hunt will be bleeding a huge amount of time trying to stay in front of Schroeder. Jamie McKnight now feels like, Dean Logsdale's been sent.
He's been run into. That's Damien McKnight's gone into the rear end, and Dean Logsdale finds himself off the track and looking to get back on. That's Jim Caparonis coming through. Let's see if we catch. There's Logsdale just getting back on track now. That is devastating for Logsdale.
Yeah, that's a huge moment. That is that has genuine championship contention or implications. Sorry, Jared, and it's a huge shame to see. I won't comment on any sort of blame until we see a replay. But no matter who was to blame there, massively disappointing for Logsdale, and he is going to be absolutely furious at himself. The only reason that he was in that position was because of his initial spin, and just so disappointing for him. As we do see here, a huge move, and he's just been squeezed and squeezed and squeezed and squeezed,
that's interesting.
And they've ended up having just a little bit of a touch on the way in, and the other car, and I won't claim any names because I can't think of who it is off the top of my head. Damien Cairns has definitely done done no favours on the turn in there. He was not real happy about the tap in the rear, I don't think, and he stuck to his turn in point, and so be what may the consequences. I know that's been reported through to our friends at Race Control, and I've got an eagle ear out, just waiting to see, or an eager ear, I should say, Jared, just waiting to see what comes of that.
Absolutely, that was a moment. That was absolutely a moment, as we see a drive-through issued for Philip Marsh for an unsafe rejoin. That's not going to have any implications for this front group. But look at this pack. Damien Cairns, Vanderkraan, McKnight and Varga continue to battle. These four barely able to be separated right now. Vanderkraan is side by side with Damien Cairns as we make our way up towards Lukey Heights. Jamie McKnight now looking to get past as well. These guys are sending everything they've got here for the final round of Season 3. Vanderkraan's pushed to the outside. That's going to set him up to try and make the pass, but Cairns goes defensive, but Vanderkraan can't respond because he's got Jamie McKnight outside. Cairns goes too deep into the corner. Vanderkraan on the outside now as we make our way around the final corner. Vanderkraan's got to deal with Damien Cairns disappearing there. He's come back on track. Thankfully, no contact. Jamie McKnight now, can he tack onto the back of these two and set himself up for a run? Vanderkraan looks to drop back in behind Cairns for the slipstream. This is going to be three-way battling into turn one. Vanderkraan's surely going to send it at the outside. He does. Damien Cairns stays inside and defensive. McKnight goes with Vanderkraan. In the background, Varga and Hunt with it as well. Cairns loses the spot for Vanderkraan. What's Jamie McKnight got? Because he is set up for the run through Southern Loop. Cairns has dropped 2 spots now as they make contact. There's a big off in front of them. That's one of the quantum entries. I think that was Craig Rose that's just run off track there. So one of your lapped cars. Josh Harris, this battle is amazing here at Phillip Island tonight.
Yeah, that was some fantastic racecraft there by Matt Vanderkraan and Jamie McKnight to have the awareness to hang around the outside of turn 1 to make sure that they were set up for turn 2 was some really heads-up racing. They've outdone themselves there. That was beautiful to watch, and just a little bit of maybe a driver's insight. It looked to me there. Jamie McKnight just opening up the steering ever so slightly on Cairns in the middle of Southern Loop and just making sure that he maybe made it to the marbles and understood that it was his turn just to settle back in behind. Damien Cairns has been running incredibly defensively over the last couple of laps, trying to do everything that he can to hold any positions possible as he runs towards the checkered flag of not only this race but the championship. And I think that he just got a little hint from Jamie McKnight that maybe it was a bit too defensive for this early in the race.
Look, not unlike these guys to just give some subtle body language messages there, right? As we see Jeff Thomas coming into the pits as well, so he'll drop back through the timing tower as he takes his second stop. Actually, what's happened there? No, I think he might have just actually disappeared on our screen there. Never mind. Trying to figure out what on earth has gone on. No, Jeff Thomas into the pits and out again.
Yeah, so everyone has, in all that excitement, we have missed a couple of pit stops. So Scotty Rankin and Jeff Thomas out in front with so there's 2.6 seconds to Jeff Thomas and then another second and a half to Spriggs. So there's some fantastic racing going on there to see Scotty Rankin be able to use that track position and clear space and an alternate strategy and vault himself to the front. So do we get to see Stewie 2.0? As we see Tonkin there
getting very loose.
Wildly loose. That was a huge catch and he's done well, but those rear tyres, they are very, very hot and he is absolutely struggling. He's going to be a handful for the rest of this lap, Jared, as we now jump straight back up to the battle for 4th, and we do see Varga and Trav Hunt battling. Trav Hunt trying to get the over-under, hasn't been able to turn it back quite tight enough, so he's going to have to settle for being in that single file position through the last couple of corners and look to set himself up for another run. Unfortunately, his plan didn't quite work, and so it's time to find a new one. But as we have seen all night, Jared, just so much of this nose-to-tail racing, surely there is nothing better to see. And as we do see it pop up, 88 and 147 post-race investigation. So that is the Cairns and Logsdale. So that one's going to play out in the stewards room after the race. Unfortunately, we're not going to have a firm answer on our championship standings until those guys have gone and locked themselves in the stewards room and you know, really worked out what it is. And of course, it is such a huge potential implication, Jared. As soon as we saw it, you know, our eyebrows were raised with you know, Damien's turn in. Obviously, there was the initial impact from Dean Logsdale into the back of Damien. There's a lot to unpack there, and I certainly don't envy the job of the stewards to really work through who is to blame for that incident, if there is one person wholly to blame.
The problem either way, though, is this: Damien Cairns could end up with a penalty that will take him further back in the championship. But what won't happen as a result of that incident, you won't see Dean Logsdale given a bump up through the timing tower. Oh, look at this! Caparonis off the inside. Tonkin gets all locked up sideways, gets nudged just a little bit further as Caparonis gives him a nudge, straightens him back up, and manages to keep going. Here comes Logsdale in amongst it. As we speak of the man himself, look, unfortunately, no matter what that investigation finds, it's not going to redress Logsdale's loss of positions here. And unfortunately, for as close as it was, it's not going to be enough. He is not going to find his way back in the next 4 laps to a position where he is going to be able to take P2. Jason Spriggs firmly planted in P3 right now. There's just not enough gap. There is not enough time in this race distance. Dean Logsdale, look, you can't be disappointed with P3 in this championship, but there's going to be just a tinge of regret, I am sure. And it's just not how we would have loved to see it play out.
Yeah, look, I don't know, Jared. I think that, you know, Logsdale's pretty close to getting Caparonis, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him get Schroeder. That's up into the 9. Obviously, Cairns is sitting in 6th at the moment. It wouldn't be the world's biggest post-race penalty. As we do see, Hunt has taken out Varga, although doing the gentlemanly thing as best he can, and just straightens him back up and then waits for him to rejoin the racetrack. So a bit of a mistake there from Trav Hunt, and you know, really done the right thing and made sure that he lets Vargas get on back racing. But as we see now, Logsdale has grabbed that position off Caparonis, and he is absolutely now nose down, hunting down Schroeder, who is only just up the road. As I said, I wouldn't be surprised to see him up in 9th. Cairns is in 6th. And you know, it's not the world's biggest post-race penalty, I guess, Jared, to see enough spots lost. So I don't know that it's all over for Damien Cairns yet for second, but not the way that anyone wants to see it played out, for it to have to make it to. For it to have to make it all the way to the stewards room to determine.
Hang on a second. Unless I'm off the mark, I don't think Damien Cairns is in it for second. It's Dean Logsdale that was going to be battling for second, wasn't it? I'm going to have a quick look at the championship standings.
You're absolutely right. I had it in my head. I am sorry to everyone there. I had it in my head that Logsdale and Cairns were arguing over second, but it's not. It's Logsdale and Spriggs, of course.
Yeah,
and you're absolutely right. So yeah, Logsdale will have to resolve himself for third, and that is hugely disappointing. And apologies for that mistake, folks. I have got myself all tied up in a couple of knots there.
Such is life. Look, for what it's worth, and we'll come back to the question that was asked a little while ago by Tim Lawson, the points between 1st and 8th as we head towards the end of this race. We'll keep our eye on Rankin and Thomas, but actually in the background as well, Trav Hunt and Stephen Varga, after coming together earlier, are back at it as they head up towards Lukey Heights. There's a couple of battles still going on here, with Jim Caparonis and Michael Schroeder having been passed by Dean Logsdale. Caparonis now on the back of Schroeder, so Logsdale's up into 9th. Varga's on the back there, but Rankin and Thomas, this is where it's going to be battled out here for the race win, the final race win available for this season. Rankin's had a couple of wins already this season. He's looking for another, but Jeff Thomas not prepared to give it up quite so easily. Let's talk championship points, though. Spriggs was 27 points ahead after race 1 without bonuses of Dean Logsdale, so it would have needed 28 points the difference. I am going to very quickly calculate that. Josh, I'm going to ask you to keep an eye on the call here and see if there's anything that pops up.
Look, it'll absolutely be my pleasure as we do see Scotty Rankin and Jeff Thomas going at it toe for toe with only a couple of laps left to go in the season. They are all out on their own. They have their own little battle to play. As we see Scotty Rankin makes a mistake on the way into Honda hairpin and then lights it up and nearly spins. He now has to consolidate. Can he hold it in second place? Those tyres are going to be hot. Jeff Thomas has just been absolutely awarded the win. Unfortunately there for Scotty Rankin, he has made a mistake on the way into the incredibly difficult turn 4, just ever so slightly outbraked himself and then found himself in the marbles. And we talked about it earlier on in the broadcast. The marbles here at Phillip Island are absolutely horrific, and we do see now Scott Rankin has had to settle in some 2.5 seconds off the back of Jeff Thomas. We are on lap 24 of 26. There's only a couple of laps to go, folks, for not only this race but also this whole season, and we have absolutely jumped or seen Jeff Thomas jump out to a nice lead. We now bounce back to Trav Hunt and Vargs, who are going toe for toe, half a second. And let me assure you that just because... Sorry, Jared, who has crashed?
Steve Tonkin of Fluky Heights gets it locked up, goes very deep and slides. Very, very easy to do there. That's going to cost him some positions because he's going to have to wait for a long time before he can get rolling. 3 positions, rejoins, finds himself on the inside. Gas to let Dane Nothdurf through, as well as, I think that's Damon Fisher that's ended up behind him there. And they will get back underway. Steve Tonkin slips back to 16th.
Yeah, that's a shame, and not the way that he would want to finish his race, but was able to recover without any damage and not too many positions. We now have a look at Matty van der Kraan, absolutely still all over the back of Spriggs, and he has thrown it down the inside. Fantastic move there. Spriggs got out of it early and just made sure that he consolidated his position. Matt van der Kraan through to third, which, considering, you know, he found himself buried in this pack a little bit earlier on in the race and maybe fell foul of a little bit of strategy, but a fantastic drive for Matt van der Kraan as he's moved forward. He'll now look to consolidate that final place on the podium. I can't imagine him pulling 3.5 seconds out of Scotty Rankin in one lap. And of course Jeff Thomas got his own. Jamie McKnight has absolutely sent it. He licked that stent, Jared, and put it in the post. That is gone. That was a fantastic move. Not sure whether he caught Spriggs napping, whether that was planned or opportunistic, but not only did he get it down the inside at Lukey Heights, which is incredibly hard to do, but he got it stopped for MG as well. So a fantastic move there as we do now move on to our final lap. So the leaders have commenced their final lap. As we do quickly flick back to have a look at Jamie McKnight sitting there pretty in 4th place. An update of the fishy colours this week to gold, and doesn't it look ever so beautiful as it tracks around this absolutely gorgeous racetrack. As we do look to wrap up season 3 of the Alliance Sim Racing, Trav Hunt got the windscreen wiper going. I reckon that he's had a bit of a battle with his steering wheel there and accidentally bumped a button, but he's 0.2 of a second behind Vargs. He knows that there's only 1 lap to go to put in a really exciting result to finish off this season. And if we thought that we were going to come down to a point where the end of the season was over and these guys had settled down, if anything, Jared, these guys have got a couple of weeks to do some repairs. These things are going back in the shed after tonight, and there's absolutely no problem with sending them back in with a few bent panels.
And Sipple is definitely feeling that from Todd Martin as the 2 teammates battle it out on their final lap. But further up, we are coming down to the wire here. Van der Kraan, McKnight, Spriggs and Cairns all reasonably close together, but probably no one close enough to really challenge for another spot unless we see McKnight just absolutely send it again there for Lukey Heights. He doesn't. This is Jeff Thomas on his way around the final corner. A huge drive for him. He's going to take out race number 2 here, the final race of season number 3. Round 10 at Phillip Island finishes with a stellar win for Jeff Thomas. He comes across the line. Scott Rankin in 2nd place, and Matt van der Kraan, this will be your championship winner for season 3. Matt van der Kraan comes across the line just ahead of Jay McKnight. In the background, Spriggs and Cairns crossing the line as well. A huge race from all of these top drivers. Look, I've got to come back to it. Tim Lawson, I've done the numbers. When we were talking about Logsdale being in 1st and Spriggs in 8th, that would have been 46 points the difference. And that would have been well and truly the 28 that Logsdale needed to take 2nd. He's going to be absolutely filthy with that, I'm sure. look, he's put in a huge effort. It's just not been his night, and unfortunately, it's the way that racing sometimes goes. But you can't help but feel sorry for him, can you?
No, you can't, but that's racing at the end of the day. And for as much as we feel sorry for Dean Logsdale, I think that it's appropriate to celebrate Jeff Thomas. What a night for Jeff! The Grand Slam, or he's polled it and then won both races. Probably not the fastest car out there for the entirety of tonight, but what a drive! He has been where he needed to be at every point, and I'm so happy for him. It's been a fantastic season for Jeff. From memory, that's his second and third win of the year, so it's been a good year. But definitely signing out on a high, and that's gonna bring a whole heap of confidence for him as not only do we head towards season 4. But back this weekend at Phillip Island for the 600. Scotty Rankin's going to be back. Jeff Thomas, I'm pretty sure I've seen his name there. Matty Vanderkraan. There's a bunch of people who are coming back on Sunday and going to be so excited to do all of this again. So, tonight was fantastic, over 13 and 26 laps. Imagine when we're doing it over 100 or whatever it is, Jared, that makes up 600 kilometres. And look here at Matt Vanderkraan has absolutely gone out to put on a display for us. I would have thought now with the amount of championships that he's won that he would have done a better burnout than that, but we'll have a chat to him post-race about maybe doing some practice in between now and season 4, because just quietly, in my opinion, Jared, between you and me, the bloke wins enough races that he doesn't need to practice his race starts or his lap times, but he probably could do with getting out on track and practicing his celebratory burnouts a little bit more.
Look, it wouldn't hurt, would it? The points at the end of race number 2. Jeff Thomas takes the win, 200 points for him, 3 and a bit seconds ahead of Scott Rankin in second place from Wanted Goons team. Matt Vanderkraan finishing third with 180 points, just dominating this season. Jamie McKnight in fourth, Jason Spriggs takes fifth, Damien Cairns in sixth, Stephen Varga and Trav Hunt 7th and 8th respectively. Dean Logsdale in 9th. What could have been for him tonight? Still a fantastic result. But look, it's a rough one. It's a rough one. We will go down to the track now, and we will bring into the booth tonight's winner in race 2, Jeff Thomas. Welcome to the comms booth. What a stellar drive, mate. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, boys. Pretty hard work out there.
I can imagine it looked like hard work. Phillip Island is not easy at the best of times, and in the sort of company you were in on track there, Scott Rankin really pushing you hard all the way to the end. Only really that last lap that you got to enjoy it, mate.
Yeah, last couple I could relax a little bit. It was. I'm figuring Scotty didn't take tyres somewhere there, so he was sliding around a fair bit. So. Just knew I just had to bide my time. I was catching him, and then he made that little mistake, so that made it easy. So yeah, but no, it was really good fun with him.
I've got to ask. We talked in race 1, so you had a fantastic result in race 1 as well, and probably a more exciting race finish. But it certainly didn't seem like you were necessarily the fastest car out there. Did you feel like you were the fastest car out there? Was there a bit of race management, or were you just doing everything you could to hold on? And then the same thing in race 2, I guess. A couple of fortuitous moments from other people meant that you got that win. A bit of luck tonight and a little bit of good race management, or were you sort of playing some games there and you had a genuinely fast car?
Look, to be honest, I think it was easier to not lead and not have the pressure from behind, because that was sort of forcing a few little errors in that first race. So I found it a bit more comfortable, even though I let the boys sort of jump away a little bit, because I was thinking about strategy with tyres and things like that. So, but I did just find it was a little bit easier to be the guy hunting. Not sure what happened to Matty Crank, because I thought he would have had pace. And obviously Dean was quick all night, and he just backed it around in Siberia there, so unfortunate for him. But they made my life a little bit easier in that second one for sure. But no, I didn't necessarily feel like I was the quickest guy out there. I was still trying to really get some rhythm and some sort of lap pace for sure. It was a struggle.
Well, it is
one of those tracks, that's for sure.
Yeah, you need rhythm for the lap times to come, and you can't overdrive, I find, anyway. It's got to be smooth as fast around here.
Well, certainly very fast tonight. Jeff Thomas, congrats on the win in race number 2. We'll let you go and celebrate that one. And well done all season, mate. We've had a chance to chat to you a couple of times. Looking forward to season 4. We're seeing you back.
No, I got to give season 4 a miss at the moment because Tuesdays and Thursdays and a bit of endurance racing and Scots now, it's all getting a bit much. So better give something back to the family. So Tuesday is probably the one that's going to drop. So.
It's
Sorry about that.
It's
been fun and appreciate everything that everyone's put in to put it together. But yeah, sometimes something's got to give.
That's fair enough. Well, Jeff Thomas, a great way to finish your season, and I certainly look forward to calling your name again in seasons future. Looking forward to chatting again sometime, mate. Congratulations tonight, and well done.
No worries. Thanks, boys.
That is, of course, Jeff Thomas, your winner tonight. We will go to our second place, and always a pleasure to have a chat to him here in the booth. Scott Rankin, welcome back, my friend.
Well, you guys just missed me swearing on the broadcast by about 0.3 of a second, so...
That's what we're all about here, is good timing, mate. It's all about good timing. Look, no shoey for you this week. I'm moderately disappointed, but also...
Mate! No, I know! What happened was I was thinking about the shoey and the defence at the same time.
You were too focused on the beer and not enough on keeping the car straight. Look, devastating, but what a drive from you, mate. A second place, you can't be disappointed. Phillip Island, it's got those little tricks up its sleeve every time, doesn't it?
Yeah, look, there's definitely little bits and pieces. Look, I was watching a lot of cars in that first run. Overall raw pace, if you were to sit down here and say, for whatever reason, come the end of the Enduro, there's a 5-lap shootout come Sunday, I'm probably losing 3 to 4 spots. But I was very, very confident that after about lap 8 on the tyres that I was going to be the quickest in the field. So we just went, screw it, we've got nothing to lose here. And yeah, I wanted to be on fresh tyres at the end. So we strategized, look, that's the only royal flush I've ever dealt myself, and I'm gonna have to go shuffle on that deck again to see if I can't find another.
Look, mate, not the result you're hoping for, I know, but still a great way to cap off the season. The big question for me, are we seeing you back for season 4? I know you've got your name down with a certain Matt Vanderkraan for the endurance racing season as well, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, that was an opportunity that was too good to pass up. So yeah, I mean, I was just sort of reaching around and looking at who is possibly available. But look, I mean, the opportunity to drive with somebody like that who's going to be able to get in my ear and go, hey, you're missing things here. This is where you need to be a little bit better on the brakes. This is what I'm doing with the brakes. Look, at the end of the day, I could have been the fastest driver in another car, or I could be sitting here learning, watching, and listening. And that was what I was looking for. So I'm glad that worked out.
Well, look, definitely looking forward to calling that one. Hopefully it all happens on Sunday. Obviously, weather may play a factor with this tropical cyclone hanging around, but no doubt we will be having a chat to you at some point soon. Scott Rankin, it's been a pleasure having you along this season, and looking forward to chatting again in the not too distant future, mate. We'll leave you to go and celebrate the wrap-up of the season, hey?
Yeehaw! Thank you very much, boys.
Scott Rankin there, P2 tonight, and we will bring, of course, third place this evening, but if my maths is not terribly off, I think he might just have squeaked in as the championship winner, Matt Vanderkraan, for about the umpteenth time this season. Welcome back to the booth. Huge drive tonight, and congratulations. I am certain that we are speaking to this season's championship winner.
Evening, boys. Yes, very happy with that. It was a hard-fought season, and I had to work really hard, particularly in a new car with some very good fast drivers around me, and very happy to get here.
Well, mate, you've made it look, I won't say easy, but you've certainly adapted very, very nicely to the Gen3 Supercars. Given that a lot of these drivers did seem to take a few extra races, perhaps, to come to grips with the new chassis and the new performance, do you think you're going to have, again, I think easy is the wrong word in this company, right? But do you think you're going to make it look so easy next season, or are you expecting it to be a bit closer than the 150 odd points difference that you had this season?
There's no chance that I'll have that sort of gap again. Because the field will compress as people and the boys and girls get used to the car, but I may have had a hint or two of some other drivers coming into next year's championship, and I'm in all sorts of trouble.
Ooh, okay. I'm looking forward to that. I haven't actually had a look at the entry list for next season. You want to give us any heads up on who you're really worried about?
No, I don't want to ruin the surprise. let's see what happens.
Mate, look, it's been huge. Josh Harris, your questions for Mr. Vanderkraan.
Yeah, look, not really a question, Matt. We don't get many opportunities to throw digs your way, mate. You have been as close to flawless this season as anyone that I've seen. But just for myself and the YouTube comment section, mate, if you can spend less time practicing your lap times and race starts over the off season and more time practicing your celebratory burnouts, mate, that was that was probably a Jamie Whincup level of burnout that we saw tonight, and we really wanted a Russell Ingall, Phillip Island style send-off. So, it was fantastic to see you win, but maybe more smoke next time, hey?
Thank God they don't hand out points for burnouts.
Mate, look, it was fantastic to see, and from myself, I'm here. It's my first go commentating. And I've had an absolute ball calling your season this year, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure sitting here watching, and I have learnt more through watching you than I could have ever imagined. So, absolutely, congratulations. You deserve it. It has been fantastic, and I look forward to seeing you next season. But now that we've asked about that, let's focus on the actual important stuff. Sunday, 600 kilometres around here. How are you going to get it done?
I tell you what, with the tyre wear tonight, going to be interesting. However, I may have picked up a very loose but good teammate in Scott Rankin, because he seems to look after his tyres pretty well there. So I'll hopefully get a tip or two off him.
And I think the important question that we're all going to ask, if we see a Rankin Vanderkraan win on Sunday, can we expect a double shoey in the interview room on cam?
Yeah, there's a massive chance that Scotty will do two of them.
That is probably the best answer that I could have ever imagined, Mr. Vanderkraan. Thank you very much from me. It's been a wonderful season. I look forward to talking to you next year. Jared, do you have anything for us to finish up the night with?
I reckon Matt's covered it all. A huge season, fantastic, consistent results. Well done, mate. Short of even including the minus 100 points for that burnout that the YouTube chat has given you, you've still come out comfortably ahead of Jason Spriggs. Well done, and looking forward to chatting to you again soon, my friend.
Mate, really appreciate it. And if I could just quickly, I really want to thank Rick Vigar, Troy Sipple, who do the most of the work of putting this league together. You boys out, Jonathan, and the other boys in race control. Tim Nicol jumps in there, and Nathan, and the other drivers in the league. Without other drivers in the league, it's nothing. So huge thanks to everyone, and I'm really looking forward to season 4.
Yeah, it's going to be an absolute blast, mate. Go and celebrate. It's well deserved. Congratulations once again.
Cheers, boys.
Matt Vanderkraan not only winning the championship, but doing it in a bit of style, although not so many points for the burnout there. Of course, as is customary, when we come to the end of any season, we make time to speak to one of the league organisers, and tonight we bring Troy Sipple into the broadcast booth. Troy, mate, not the season you might have been hoping for on track in your car, but overall, what a stellar season this one has been.
Yeah, no, we're pretty happy. A bit disappointing. I keep getting tied up in a few other people's incidents, plus making mistakes of my own. But no, it is what it is. So I'm not quick enough to play with those boys up the front. So let them fight it out and have fun at the back, I suppose.
We've certainly seen plenty of that, mate. From a league perspective, has season 3 delivered everything you had hoped for? What have you learned from it that you're looking to take into season 4 of the V8 Supercars Championship here with Alliance Sim Racing?
On a season, I think it did go well. I think we made a few hiccups along the way with a few race control decisions and stuff like that, which me and Rick are having a big look at. So maybe changing a few things around to make it a little bit easier and better. Easy to make results. The point system, I think Rick's reorganised. Also the penalty system. So there's certain things that we look at that have been a little bit unfair, but then there's certain things that we looked at that, hey, that's not fair to the guy that got taken out or was involved in the accident. So yeah, so there's a lot of things we got to look at it. I think it's just going to be one of those things that you can never please everyone every time. There's always someone that's going to get the raw end of the stick. But we just got to work on it and make it better. That's all we can do. So.
Look, mate, certainly looking forward to bringing all the action back to YouTube for all the viewers. A stacked YouTube comment section tonight, enjoying this final race of the season. And if you thought Phillip Island this week, as round 10 was good, of course, Sunday we start off weather permitting, of course, we start off the Alliance Sim Racing Endurance Championship here with 600 kilometres around Phillip Island. Mate, what do people at home need to know about what they can expect to see for this first race?
As long as they drive better than I did, it'll be pretty good. So, but no, I'm hoping we got a good, strong field in it. Even me and myself and Rick were talking about it the other day. So, there's some good drivers in it. Scotty Gamble, I'm hoping's coming along. So, I think he's actually joined the season for next season 4. So that should be good. Spice it up for Matty Vanderkraan. So
yeah, a bit of competition up the front there.
Yeah, but I think the race for the Enduro, the first Enduro, I think it's going to be a good watch. The battles are going to be, because the drivers are pretty close with the guys that are in it. So, and a lot of split one from Scott. I think there's a few Scots drivers in there. I think there's a lot of split ones from the vets in there as well. Jamie's also in there. So, it should be a good race. So there's still a few positions if anyone wants to jump on.
Yeah, there's still a few entries available, and of course, if it's something that you are considering getting involved with, for anyone who is watching this and thinking about jumping in, the first step, as always, jump into the Alliance Sim Racing Discord. We'll drop the link right now into the chat. So if you do want to get amongst it, then come on over, join the Discord, and get your entry in. Still some time ahead of Sunday. Troy, I think the last thing from me, end of the season, it's been a huge one. Obviously, the support for this season from AA West Automotive and Quantum Tint Solutions has been epic, along with the secondary support from Nicol Photography and, of course, the 24/7 Sim Services safety car. Thankfully, not getting a workout tonight, but some opportunity here, I suppose, for you to just say a thank you to anyone you want to for making this season what it was.
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank everyone that drove in the season. We started off pretty strong. I think most races had a good call, a good crowd, and a lot of cars on it. Also the spectators. So I'm glad we brought them something that was worth watching. Tim, thanks for your help through race control. Also Jonathan and Nathan done a good job. So we've been trying to set the rules and set the regs up all season, and hopefully we should be improving on that. You guys yourself, like, broadcasting's been great. I think every single round you've been top notch. So everyone's given us great reviews. So we're looking forward again to the Enduro and also season 4. But mate, Rick as well, he's done a lot of hard work in the regs. Kind of favourite track he kind of set out tonight. I think he just didn't want to race. I thought that was a bit low, but anyway, we'll see how it goes in the Enduro. And just everyone involved. So Simon in the background does a lot of our stuff, and organising the races and all the information and that. Who else? I don't want to forget anyone. Todd does all the points in our team as well. Matty, even though he wins and practices so much, he sets up all our races. So good job, Matty, and well done on the series and the championship as well. So, and if I forget anyone, I'm sorry. But thanks everybody, and looking forward to season 4, the Enduro and season 4.
Well, it's a long and distinguished list of thank yous, mate, and I'm sure everyone that may have been missed on there.
Before you go, I have to thank Jamie. Jamie as well. Jamie's done all the setups. I better not forget Jamie. So he's had them to us as early as he possibly could, because obviously they're for the vets as well. So no, I don't want to forget Jamie. He gets on, chats, and has a good talk about it, and gives us every setup each week. So thanks, Jamie.
There you go. Well, look, a little bit of time to get yourself ready for this 600 kilometres of Phillip Island this weekend, and then a few weeks of downtime before we get into season 4. As always, it's been an absolute pleasure to watch it from the commentary booth, and a massive thank you from us here at Simple Racing Broadcasts for not only being able to be involved here, Troy, but to get to watch such a high-class field go at it lap after lap, track after track, week after week. It's been nothing but the utmost pleasure to call that this season, and I am absolutely looking forward to, along with the rest of the Simple team, bringing all the action for many seasons to come here with Alliance, I suspect. Mate, we're going to let you...
Heaps. We're going to be around a while, long time.
I like to see it, and certainly get into it. If you're interested in getting into the endurance season, then absolutely get into the Discord now and get your entries in. But also, if you're interested in getting into season 4, I believe the public entries might be opening as soon as this weekend. Is that right?
I'll have to speak to Rick. Not sure. I know they're not far away. Depends how far I have to drive to pick up my sim after the weekend. So I don't know how far that's going to get blown away till. But we'll have to. Yeah. So I know it is coming, but due to having tonight's race, and then we've also got the Vets race, and then the Enduro. So we want to make sure we get all the guys that are in there. Obviously, it's been open to them, to all the ones in the current series now. A few have come up and said that they're doing a couple of other things, so which is good for them, and so there will be some positions opening up to our waiting list, which is good. So if you want in, jump in, because I know next season is going to be a cracker, because we are changing a couple of the qualifying things and also the weather. So we're gonna change it up quite a bit. So it's not going to be the same sort of similar formats, but there's going to be a few different things thrown in there just to keep these fast guys honest. And I can say Scotty Gamble has signed up for season 4, and there are a couple of other drivers which I think are going to give Matty a bit of drive time and a bit of race time, and hopefully take it to him a little bit and make the broadcast even better. So.
Cannot wait to cover it, mate. Yeah, go enjoy a well-earned beer. You've not only driven hard, but you've been behind the scenes making this work all season. I know it's not a solo effort, but you're here on behalf of the league admin team, and so I'm going to say that you can go and have the beers on behalf of the league admin team too. Well done, Troy. An awesome season.
Thanks. And I think I'm going to have to get practice in. My son would beat me for a couple of those races. I don't think I can have that.
Well, go get to it, mate. Yep. You've got some time to get ready. Troy Sippel, pleasure to chat as always.
Thanks, boys. Thanks, Josh.
Thank you, mate, and thank you very much for having me along. It's been my absolute pleasure to be here, and I can't wait for next season.
Looking forward to it. Anyway, boys, have a great night. I'll be watching the broadcast very shortly, and I'll catch up with you soon.
Troy Sippel, thank you so much. The Alliance Sim Racing League admin team, represented there by Troy Sippel. Josh, we've got to wrap this up. I almost don't want to, because it's been such a phenomenal season of racing. But the sooner we do wrap this one up, the sooner we can get into the Endurance Championship, hopefully this weekend. And of course, season 4, give or take a month away. There is so much more amazing racing yet to come. And of course, we'll be covering it right here. Mate, tonight, I'm not going to ask about a top driver tonight, because I think for me, the top drivers are right throughout the field. This team of drivers here under Alliance Sim Racing's banner in this season have been phenomenal to watch. All of them have put in some stellar drives, and regardless of whether they've been fighting for the top 5 or the 20th to 25th sort of places, we've seen battles going on right throughout this field, which is really what this league has been all about from the start, hasn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely has, and tonight was just another example of the fantastic racing that these guys and girls have put on all year. It's been exciting. It's been challenging. There's been some high points and some low points, but 10 weeks, very hard fought, very exciting. Watching all of it unfold, and as we just heard from both our champion Matt Vanderkram and the league admin team, there's some really exciting things to come for season 4. So if you think this has been good and season 3 has been fun, strap yourself in, because season 4 is just around the corner.
Absolutely. Look, I think it's time we're going to officially sign this off. So how do we wrap this all up? Because that is the end of season 3 of the Alliance Sim Racing V8 Supercars series here at Phillip Island. We've had 10 amazing action-packed rounds. We've had countless battles right throughout. There's been moments of brilliance, heartbreak, and just absolute determination from these drivers through every single race. But it does come all to a close here at Phillip Island tonight. We've seen just tonight, but again throughout the season, some amazing drives, some really bold overtaking moves, and a bit of championship drama right to the very end. And of course, every single driver, no matter where they finished in this grid, can hold their head high at the end of this season. A huge congratulations to Matt Vanderkraan, our Season 3 champion, a very well-earned title after a very, very impressive campaign from him. But of course, hats off to all of the various race winners, the podium finishers, and everyone who just dug deep to see the checkered flag week after week. Of course, none of it would have been possible without the fantastic support of our sponsors, Quantum Tint Solutions and AA West Automotive, for backing this championship and helping us showcase the incredible talent here with Alliance Sim Racing. 24/7 sim services, not only putting that safety car out on track, but providing the awesome race control service every single week to keep this all on track. And Nicol Photography, a great supporter of the series as well. So to all the teams, the drivers, the race control team, and of course you, the fans who have tuned in round after round, we want to thank you so much for making this season one to remember. Enjoy the off season. Keep in touch with the endurance season, because you can bet when we return for season 4, the action will be bigger, faster, and more intense than ever. Until then, my name is Jared Cole. On behalf of Josh Harris and everyone at the Simple Racing broadcast team, we are going to sign off from season 3 here. We will see you next time. It is goodbye for now.